Mr. Kiran Shenoy, the Director of International Strategy and Academic Partnerships. Mr. Shenoy, how are you feeling? It's been a wonderful graduation ceremony. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling great because this occasion, as I mentioned, is something very significant to the students and even to the institute. To hold a graduation is a prestigious ceremony.
Absolutely, and we are very grateful that you are here in Sri Lanka contributing to the psychology in general in Sri Lanka. Also, speaking about how the grass is always greener on the other side, would you say, or how would you say that CIRP differentiates from the other universities in the higher education system in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, you're coming out lovely questions because if you see, run-on-the-mill institutes have cropped up. Even the university standards are much lower than what it was. And when Dr. Darshan mentioned about the high standards, I always felt that yes, high standards always look terrible to a student. But end of the day, what you have taken inside your input and the way you have flourished in the world is because of that high standards put in by the guys in the institute. So there, kudos to him to maintain that standard.
True, and very much. Okay, also just one more question, because a lot of questions that students have at the moment are the demand of employability in the field of psychology. Do you think there is a demand, and how do you think CIRP contributes to the demand in Sri Lanka?
Absolutely. In fact, I would say the last 3-4 years in this part of the world or any part of the world after COVID, economic upheavals, recession coming in, and in fact, jokingly, I was talking to my sister-in-law in Canada and she mentioned about extreme cold weather making people go under depression, going to psychologists. So you can see today psychologists are needed everywhere, not only for, problems that we thought 50 years back. Today's problems are, even the young people are dying of heart attacks. The younger you are, the more depressed you are. Facebook likes make you depressed. You will agree with me. So the depression that has set in, the setbacks that have come in, the economic upheavals, the recession, the family problems, these are all matters of, psychologists. So I think there is a lot of scope in this world to take psychologists forward, and the better you are imbibed with more knowledge, more exposure, you'll do a great job.
And do you feel CIRP contributes via like the syllabus, content and all? Do you feel CIRP does contribute to that?
Absolutely. Because if you look at the content, it is world-class content. We had the best universities. And at the same time, we have lecturers from the best places and practical lecturers who have worked in, industries, in various corporate worlds. And of course, who are thorough with their theory. So theory coupled with industry leads you to a place of extreme high level, and that is where I think CIRP has contributed a lot, because now 12th year in a row it is churning out graduates, diploma holders, postgraduates, and so you can see always the best thing is imitated. 12 years back there was no institute for psychology. Today you have everyone going for psychology and usurping people, pulling out people from CIRP to teach. So I think there is a point there.
Well, thank you so much for talking to us, Mr. Shenoy. Here with Dr. Ranjit Batuwantudave, the Honorary Dean of Faculty of Psychology and Behavioral Services of CIRP. Doctor, how are you feeling? It's been a beautiful graduation ceremony after 3 years. How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm very happy to be here today. I mean, it's a welcome move. We know we were going through a very bad patch of our lives, 2 years with COVID, then 1 year with this economic downturn. So it's a very welcome blessing to have a graduation in person, which is a very significant and important milestone in everybody's life. So I'm to be frank, it's one of the best days.
Yes, it definitely is. And speaking about the best, let's speak about CIRP a little bit. How do you believe CIRP helps with the development, or how do you think CIRP contributes to the private education system in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, we all know practice makes it perfect. So CRP been in the teaching of psychology for the last more than 10 years. So being in the teaching of psychology in the country, in the region, and being a leader and with the experience, I believe CRP is doing a wonderful job, and it's one of the best places to learn psychology, which it's all international connections and the resource personnel. I believe psychology becoming more and more important in our lives, day-to-day lives, and how to cope with, and next years to come also, because psychology will play a major role in our coping mechanism. And I believe it's very important not only for the students but everybody, as for all Sri Lankans, to have some understanding on psychology. So make it a chance to look around your places where you can learn some psychology, even for the working people, even for the parents, and make your selection. I'm sure you will come to CRP.
Definitely. And also, speaking about the importance of psychology in Sri Lanka and around the world also, can you take us through some of the employment demand opportunities that the students can have by going through the process and going through the studies of CIRP? Take us through that.
Some of you who are involved with human resource management may know that about 10 years back, human resource was not that much in the forefront, but in nowadays, in any agency, any working environment, human resource management is very important. And as we know, almost all the leading companies, they will run through a psychological assessment of their incoming employees, and to do this you need people with experience. And I'm sure in days to come, even things like schooling, teachers, even up to the Montessori preschool level, the psychology of the people who are involved, teachers, it's going to play a major role. For that matter, if somebody can have a little bit of understanding of psychology to look at your friends, the people who are around you, that will be a wonderful thing take into the current day's context. Yeah. So I believe psychology will play a major role in our lives in times to come.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, just one last question regarding how CIRP contributes to the employment once again, because, like you mentioned, it's going to be a very significant factor in the future. Can you take us through the content, or like the syllabus content that helps the students that you recommend for students to come to CIRP for psychology?
Yeah, we have this foundation courses for the people who need a little bit of basic and starting level of psychology, and we have the diplomas and the bachelors and the masters, and at the top of the level we have masters in business psychology and organizational psychology, which is going to be one of the best to that matter, this is the only masters in psychology offered in Sri Lanka from the CIRP. So come to us and take your chance and experience the difference.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Doctor, for speaking to us. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on hosting and conducting a wonderful graduation ceremony. Thank you very much, and have a great evening ahead.
Thank you very much, and good luck to all of you. Thank you.
Professor Anil Gunatilaka, the Honorary Dean of the Faculty of Health and Life Sciences at CIRP. Professor, thank you so much for agreeing to speak to us. A question about CIRP, because today it's all about CIRP and about the amazing graduates that we have developed, and you have graduated today to develop the psychology field in Sri Lanka. You have been a part of the industry. How do you think CIRP contributes to the development of psychology in today's day and time?
Well, actually, they have been the pioneers, and they are one of the best teachers in psychology in Sri Lanka. and also they have a lot of out of the box solutions for this, and guiding the children towards employability also.
So you have been in the industry for over 10 years now, and also just one quick question about psychology in general in today's day and time. How do you think, what would CIRP or the content of CIRP contribute to the employment opportunities in Sri Lanka?
Actually, very much so. I mean, I'm a medical doctor. About 50% of our illnesses are psychology related. They are due to the current stresses and strains people are having. And also employability. People need to know how to get on as a team, which Sri Lankans are not very good at. So I think teamwork, marketing, all of this counts, psychology counts to this.
And do you think CIRP grooms them or develops them to this opportunity or towards the employability?
Definitely it does. I have come to a lot of the exhibitions. They do, certainly.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much, Professor, for talking to us. Here with Professor Sri Kandaya, a visiting professor in psychology. Professor, thank you for agreeing to speak to us, and thank you for sharing that beautiful journey that you shared with us a few minutes ago. And congratulations on winning the Queen's Award. How do you feel, and how can you take us a little bit about it? Tell us a little bit about it, because I'm sure our viewers would love to hear about it as well.
I think it just comes as quite a surprise, because they don't tell you that. And obviously some people have recommended you to the Queen or the committee, and until about a week before you go to Buckingham Palace, then they tell you you're going to come, and they don't tell you you're going to meet the Queen. So that came as a surprise. It was essentially for service to humanity, voluntary work. So that I'm very proud of what I've achieved. Yeah.
And we are equally and very pleased as well. Okay, so also speaking about how you mentioned that the journey with CIRP has been for about 7 years or more. How or what about CIRP has led you to the decision to motivate you to come all the way from UK to visit Sri Lanka and CIRP?
Well, I don't want to sound very pious, as if I am sort of very generous. Before COVID, it's worked out quite well, because I do a lot of corporate work. Thankfully, I know a lot of the people here. Relations built over as you know, I'm not a young spring chicken like you, so I have been involved with most of the leading companies in Sri Lanka doing commercial work and consultancy, which is one of the things I'm doing now in this trip, which is even after COVID, face-to-face, which we haven't done for ages. So I'm carrying, if you like, a twofold. One is the corporate type of development along with psychology, and I'm coming because it seems to tie in quite well with what I'm doing. So it's a win-win situation, but I don't sound like as if I'm, and it also gives me pleasure, because it gives me a chance to come to Sri Lanka, and at the moment apparently it's -10 in England, so in some ways I'm glad I'm here. So yeah, it's a lovely thing to do, but also it's very rewarding and everybody wins. So I'm very happy with that.
Well, that's very beautiful. Thank you so much, Professor, for speaking to us and sharing all your lovely stories with us. It's been a pleasure. Here with Ms. Pamela Stagg, the Director of Degree Plus, representing the Australian partners of CIRP. Ms. Pamela Stagg, How are you feeling right now? You've been part of a lovely graduation ceremony. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling very exhilarated. It was such a passionate convocation, such a passionate speeches. The students were just magnificent. The standard of their speeches were quite excellent as well. So I enjoyed listening to the students as well as the other academics.
So you've worked with multiple universities and you have also been a part of the whole journey of CIRP for over 5 years now. How is your experience? Could you take us through your experience with CIRP and how you feel that CIRP has strengths to develop students in psychology in Sri Lanka?
Okay, yeah, some great questions there. So my background is in academia. I did work as an academic for Flinders University for 17 years. So I think that I have multiple skills to bring to CIRP to assist them with their journey for international education. Their standard of education is second to none in Sri Lanka.
Perfect. And also speaking about the role of bridging between Australia and Sri Lanka, could you take us through the benefits that the Sri Lankan students can get by being a part of the CIRP program and then transitioning to the Australian university?
Sure. I think the benefit for the students in undertaking that journey is that they have professional people with them all the way. So they are being taught by the best in Sri Lanka. And then when they come to transition, they must do that transition through a knowledgeable, experienced person who understands all the pitfalls that could fall them if they don't go the correct way. So my role is to make sure that that is a smooth journey which perfectly matches the students' needs to their academic aspirations at the right college. So it's about having the right people to help the student make that transition successfully.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. And also speaking about how important psychology is, because it's a very important topic in Sri Lanka, especially in today's day and time. Do you feel that psychology and employment do you think the demand for employment is rather high, and how would you recommend CIRP to contribute towards the demand of employment?
Okay, so in Australia we have an acute shortage of all healthcare professionals, and I think that that's a similar situation across the developed world. So we definitely have a workforce need for psychologists in every area, as well as any other healthcare professional as well. So CIRP are making a huge contribution to the workforces in a time of our lives when we really do need more than a doctor's appointment. You know, a 5-minute doctor's appointment is not going to make it for the person who's struggling with the demons inside them. So, Dr. Darshan,
Thank you for speaking to us and have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you very much.
thank you so much.
Here with Dinithi Fonseca, one of the graduates from tonight. Dinithi, congratulations on graduating. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling super excited. Thank you so much.
Okay, also, I see medals here. Tell me about the achievements. I know and I've heard of so many. Can you take us through all of it?
So actually 2 of these medals are from previous graduations. I actually won the gold medal for highest academic achievement for my foundation, as well as my diploma of higher education in psychology. And tonight I just got my bachelor's final year medal as well.
Very exciting. Congratulations once again. Okay, and also you did mention, or I did hear that this is the first time that this has happened. Is that right?
I think to my knowledge also, yes, it's the first time that this is happening.
That is amazing. Okay, also speaking about CIRP has contributed significantly as well. How do you believe CIRP has helped you mold into the person that you are today in the field of psychology?
I think CIRP is undoubtedly a pioneer in Sri Lanka at the moment. I think it has always been. But I think as a person, in terms of psychology, obviously it has given me like the knowledge for me to go out into society and do good work to serve humanity. Because at the end of the day, psychology is about serving mankind, as one of our chief guests today, I think, said also. So in terms of myself, I think from when I first started at this institute, I have changed a lot as a person. I think the number one thing that CRP has taught me is to always stand up for myself and always not to be scared to be vocal about the things that I believe in.
That is wonderful. And also, okay, so speaking about how it has changed you, how do you think, or what would you say to someone that is pursuing a career in psychology? How would you recommend CIRP, and what would you say to someone who is pursuing in psychology? Because a lot of people are scared when it comes to psychology, they're worried about employment opportunities. What would you say to them?
I think anyone who has ever had the idea of pursuing psychology as their future career did so because of the compassion they had for others. I think once you start this journey, there are going to be times you're kind of doubtful about, oh, are there going to be employment opportunities? Like, how am I going to navigate my future? But I think never forget why you kind of started pursuing this in the first place, which is what I do. I always remember, like, okay, I started this journey because I genuinely want to help others. And like, at the end of the day, I want to have left this world having touched other people's hearts and been of service to them.
And you definitely will. You definitely have, I'm sure. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Congratulations once again, and have a great night ahead.
Thank you.
With Janit Ittapana, one of the graduates from tonight. Janit, congratulations. How are you feeling tonight?
Well, thank you so much, and I'm pretty excited because, I mean, it's like the cherry on the cake, and I'm like lost for words. So I'm a talkative person, but sometimes now I'm like lost for words.
We always have those moments, don't we? Okay, so speaking about psychology and how CIRP has molded you into who you are today, tell us a little bit about yourself. Take us through your psychology journey.
Right. So this all started from my school, and I was in the career guidance unit. And this counselor told me, okay, you talk with people approach you. Why don't you do psychology and be in the field of psychology? And back then, I never knew psychology as a field existed. And then I did my A-levels, and then I looked into, okay, psychology, where can I do it? And luckily enough, only CIRP existed. And back in 2017, I came here and had a brief. So fast forward, I've been in a lot of extracurricular activities, and so this has been technically my fourth graduation, 2 in the choir and 1 as a diploma, and now the BSc. So, and I've been involved in so many stuff, and my psychology thinking. Now, currently I'm a educator at Gateway. I teach psychology, and I technically use all the learnings, all the life lessons that starting from Dr. Darshan, and of course, I can't forget the people, my batchmates, and all the friends from across the batches. It has made the tough times a little bit sweeter, and it's worth it at the end of the day.
Definitely. And also, okay, so you mentioned how you are part of the psychology unit at Gateway. Could you take us through how that has been and how it has helped the other people, or how you have felt helping those people, especially in today's day and time. Psychology is very important. How do you feel about it?
Right. So, one of the one of the things that I always say to the kids I teach, and it's actually one the lessons I learned being at CIRP, is to be ethical and a well-rounded professional. Whatever said and done, you need to be ethical and you need to be true to the profession that you do, and that's the core. That's the core value that's been inculcated throughout this life at CIRP, because the educational standard that CIRP has is immense, and the core curriculums that they give, starting from the academic related core curriculums like conferences, and be it any singers, being a singer and anything that you want to do, they would give the opportunity for you. And I take all these learnings, and even the stories that my lecturers told me, I tell to my kids, because that's the kind of. And to be honest, I never took notes as much as I needed to, because everything was related to life. And so while I teach, I do consultancy work as well in terms of the disability mental health, because that's far often looked. In my third year, I actually found my niche, because I was confused. Okay, there are a lot of stuff in psychology, be it business, be it sports, and be it forensic, and I loved everything. And I was like, what to do in terms of, and I realized, okay, take it back home and discuss about people with disabilities, mental health. And for anyone who's like maybe watching this interview later on, you will find your purpose. It will get out of nowhere, you might find it, but be patient enough and be resilient enough, and those are the two skills that I love to give back to the community, because in these present times, being resilient and finding that glimpse of hope that we can stick to is the skills that I teach my kids, as well as I would love to take to the community as well.
Definitely. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us. And okay, just one last question. How accommodating has CIRP been in terms, because you mentioned that, purpose was found in this institute. How accommodating has it been to be through this process with them?
Right. So, I love the word accommodation, because it has a personal relevance to me, as well as, in other words, we can define it. So, in accommodation, I would go back to the physical disability, accessibility, all that, because I found my passion through that, and I basically did my thesis on it as well. So, how accommodating? So, one of the key things that I look as a dignified individual is, do they ask me the right questions at the right time? And the very first interview, like I mentioned, that question was asked, and I basically said, I actually demonstrated, to be honest, and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, and more often than not, that questions doesn't get asked. So, with that question being asked, the management as knew what to do in order to make sure that I'm being accommodated. That's the starting point for any institution, and this institution straight from the get-go asked that question, and they knew that since I'm involved and basically may have been annoyed, because I am everywhere in CIRP when it comes to that. So with that, probably that being there, they felt that, yeah, this person is there, and that's one of the key situations that even people with disabilities do not necessarily do. We have to be present, and we have to be annoyingly present at times, so that they may accommodate. But they accommodated me even without me asking at times, because and that's the only thing that it takes. So ask the right questions, and any person would tell you how to accommodate themselves.
We love it. We love it. Thank you so much for speaking to us, Janit. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you for sharing all the stories with us, and have a lovely evening ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you for being a lovely interview.
Shamil Akbar and Beverly Bastians, two of the biggest superstars of the night tonight. How are you guys feeling? It's been a lovely graduation ceremony. I've heard both of you speak, lovely speeches. How are you two feeling, first of all?
Feeling elated. It has been a lovely journey, learning psychology, understanding different concepts. So very happy to be here.
And what about you?
I'm really happy to be here. It was a really exciting day. Actually, we've been preparing for this for so long now. Much awaited and worth the hype, actually.
Absolutely. Okay, so speaking about psychology, speaking about CIRP, how has CIRP helped you develop yourself into being the person that you are today? And take us through your journey, because you mentioned that you're not originally from the field of psychology. So take us through that journey. Let's start with you.
Super. So I'm originally from the field of marketing, if we are to talk professionally. So then I've just completed the Masters in Business and Organizational Psychology. So this would be like an addendum to the marketing theories to understand how does the human mind work, how does customers work, how do their minds work as a CIRP. I always talk about the quality of academics that we've had there. So when I started psychology, I've always wanted a place which would be mentally stimulating and challenging and would feed my curiosity. So that definitely took place with all the lecturers, starting from Dr. Darshan Pereira himself, going down to all the lectures. So I'd really liked that experience, and as I mentioned in the speech inside, it was a really mind-expanding exercise to understand different perspectives of life.
Yeah, and okay, also I overheard you both talking about how you both lecture as well. So speaking of lecturing, you are a lecturer at Lyceum campus, is that right? Okay.
Yes, and most of the time I'm occupied with teaching A-level kids, and that is a really fulfilling experience. They actually were a huge part of my preparation for today. They gave me lots of cards, and till today I'm getting a lot of messages. Till now I'm getting a lot of messages saying, "Congrats, miss, how is it going? How did it go?" And they were the ones who actually, the last quote about being a light, they were the ones who want to add that part. And they are honestly a light to me, and they brighten up my day, actually. So the most fulfilling experience for me, my take on psychology is I'm really grateful for studying psychologists just so that I could meet them.
Okay, and how do you say, or how would you say that CIRP has helped you with this journey?
Well, I joined CIRP when I was quite young, and it was a combination of so many cultures. I got to know many people. It was so enjoyable. It was actually de-stressing. It was not a very stressful environment. It was so relaxing. And I used to love to come to college, and every day was a new experience. And the lecturers were so friendly, and it was a two-way street, actually. They would confide in us, we would confide in them. It was a wonderful learning experience, and it was just the kind of environment you can learn psychology from.
Lovely. And okay, also speaking of the degrees, because I believe you are part of the undergraduate degree program and you are part of the postgraduate degree program. What was it about CIRP that helped you select CIRP to complete these programs?
So the biggest reason was, as I told you, why I looked for psychology. Then at that point, I was looking at a postgraduate qualification. And CIRP happened to be the only university in Sri Lanka to be offering a course from a reputed university. And therefore, I latched on to it. And I'm happy that I took that decision looking at what I've learned.
Lovely. Okay, also, what about you? Why would you say that CIRP is the best place to select or to go for an undergraduate program?
Actually, even at that time, CIRP was the most credible university offering psychology. It was right out there. Whenever you Google psychology and places to learn it, it would be the first thing that would come up. And I would say it's an extremely reputed place to study psychology. Yeah.
Okay, and also speaking about the medals, because I cannot let you two go without speaking of it, tell us a little bit more about the medals.
So for me, it's now again, I don't want to be like the usual medalist and tell, okay, no, it wasn't hard and all, because I know when it comes to a deadline, I normally don't prepare well in advance. So if it's a 5,000 word submission, I do 1,000 words all along and do the last 4,000 on the day before. So that way it was very stressful. However, I personally feel because what I learned was truly engaging. I was truly curious to learn what I learned, and therefore the journey was not hectic. It was not cumbersome where you hate it at one point. So of course there were the stressors along with it, but I truly enjoyed what I learned, and I believe this is a result of that.
And is that also, just to add to that, is that also because of the lecture panel that was available at CIRP, or the syllabus? Well, take us through that as well.
The lecture panel, so more than the syllabus, because syllabus is always replicable. It's how you teach the syllabus, how you talk about the syllabus, and get a student encouraged to go home and do more reading. So I remember sometimes even during lectures, I Google certain theories and look, because I'm not from a psychology background. So I look what these theories are like, and okay, wow, there's a lot more to learn. So then I go home. There were a lot of movies that we were recommended to watch. So that entire journey, of course, led by the academic panel, helped us to gain more insights.
Wonderful. Okay, and also speaking about the demand for employment, psychology, because psychology is very important in today's day and time. How would you say, or what would you say is the demand for employment when coming to psychology?
Well, psychology is one subject that can be paired with various subject areas, whether it's the business field, finance field, marketing field, and that is one subject where you can build on even later on. So having it as a good foundation, as a base, I believe opens up a vast amount of career opportunities for every single person out there.
Okay, one last question.
To that. So I'd like to add to that, because I've been telling this about marketing. I've told, okay, marketing is not only like a professional thing, it is a way of life. So, and psychology combined with marketing gives you a wider perspective, and I would reiterate that about psychology also, that it is definitely a way of life.
Well, like to add to that as well, because after my degree in psychology, I also went on to marketing, and I want to go into an MSc in consumer behavior. So I completed chartered in marketing also because of that very reason, the fact that you can combine it.
So I've done marketing, come to psychology. She's done psychology, going to marketing.
Well, we love it. And also, one last question. What would you say to students that are looking forward to pursuing a career or studies in psychology? What would your recommendation be? Tell us a little bit about that.
I would like to pass this on to the teacher first, and then I'll come back to it.
Well, I would say that find a subject that truly defines you, and if it is psychology, if at all it's a subject that you want to impart part of yourself to the world, and if you want to show to the world something of yourself, if you want to be selfless, and if you want to give to the world something genuinely from you, something authentic, then psychology is the path for you.
So if I am to add my twist to it, often we wonder why people do certain things. Why did a certain war happen? Why did the lady behind this do something? So learning psychology gives you a torch into that dark room of the human mind. So if you are truly curious to understand what this dark room is all about, then psychology can definitely help you. So I would advise, if you are just looking to come learn and go, prepare your mind to at least be curious about this dark room that I'm telling you about. Only then you'll be able to get the true essence of psychology.
Well put, well put. Both of you, thank you so much for speaking to us. It's been a lovely conversation. Congratulations on graduating and being the award winners.